Whether you are addicted to smoking, eating, or gambling, you are probably addicted to something on some scale. But how do we get addicted? Well, to start off, there are two kinds of addiction: substance addiction and behavioral addiction. A substance addiction is an addiction to drugs like caffeine, nicotine, or cocaine, and a behavioral addiction is an addiction to certain activity such as gambling, eating, or sexual reproduction. But what makes us use or take part in these things? Addiction are still being explored today, and it's important to know that we are not 100% sure why do we get addicted. But the most widely accepted theory today is that addiction is sort of like brain disease, and here is how it goes. Humans learn to survive based on reward system. When we do something that aids our survival, like eating, our lymphatic system releases dopamine, a chemical that makes us feel good. Because we want to experience the feeling good again and again, we repeat the action, and this is how our body learns. This is why some people get addicted to behavioral addiction like exercising. When you exercise, you are aiding your survival, and in return, your dopamine is released. The body likes this sensation, and you may exercise more and become addicted to exercise because the feeling that dopamine gives you. But let's face it, doing drugs like cocaine and tobacco aren't necessary for our survival. So why do we get addicted to drugs? Drugs target our lymphatic system, and doing drugs releases up to 10 times of the normal amount of dopamine. And our body experiences dopamine high, rush, and overdose. This abnormal amount of dopamine impacts the brain largely, and in return, our body learns to use it again and again. But such high level of dopamine have consequences. After the dopamine wears off, the body is left in a hangover or recovery state. The brain struggles to return its normal self, and in return can cause dangerous behavior, depression, and even pain. But that's not the worst part. Being imposed to high level of dopamine for a long period of time, you can lower the natural amount of dopamine released in your body. This means that eating and other action our body needs to survive will no longer feel good, and in return you make your connection to drugs more reliant. Since you can't get as much as natural and healthy dopamine, you resort to take drugs more often to make your body feel good. But just because you go to the store to buy one bottle of beer, that doesn't mean that you necessarily are an alcoholic. So what's make you an addict? Some signs of substance addiction are altered intolerance level, meaning that you either need more or less of the substance to get your dopamine high. Other symptoms occur after you're high, such as sweating, hand tremor, anxiety, trouble in sleeping, nausea, and even using more substance to get rid of the symptom. But seeing all addiction are not substance addiction, what are the symptoms of behavioral addiction? If you are suffering from a behavioral addiction, you are likely to have a history of attempting to stop with no luck, discontinuing other activity to make time for your addiction, and even continuing your addiction even after knowing it isn't good for your body. But do not fear. Although addiction are bad, there are some ways to treat this addiction. Firstly, you can take some medicine that are designed to stop this addiction. But in extreme cases, you may need to rehabilitate. But if you wake up someday and desire to stop this addiction, you can. But there is always an option of slowing your way out of the addiction. For example, if your addiction is smoking, allow yourself to smoke 9 times a week, then 8 times a week, then 7 times a week, and so on. This way, you are giving yourself some dopamine, but just progressively less than the previous one. Addiction and good sensation are ultimately here to aid our survival, but too much of something can be harmful in a long run. So guys, that's it for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please share this video to your fellow ones. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe it.